exciting and I think challenging set of people, and I'd just like to introduce them before we start. We've got Anna Chen, who blogs as Madame Meow, who, as it were, is in the front line of some of the issues we want to raise. We've got Suzanne Franks, Professor Suzanne Franks from City University. And we've got Balick, whose book here, The Psychodynamics of Social Networking, couldn't be more appropriate. He's an academic at Essex University, which takes psychoanalysis very seriously. It has a department, and he's a practicing psychoanalyst, but he's also written about what's happening in the media. And our topic, it seems to me, is what is going on. At least the topic I set, in a sense, is what kind of cells are people constructing for themselves in the social media, and what kind of cells are they performing when they behave in some ways very aggressively and oddly. And I think nearly all of us have experience of that. And I just wanted to read you 3 quotes, and then it could be a quiz, actually. You could see who could guess, okay? First quote: I appeal to the human sympathy of every true citizen. Let every man's heart be shown. For pity, for the love of humanity, our sentiments must be clear to all. Any guesses? Any guesses? I'll tell you in a minute. Secondly, fastidious incorruptibility must be at the heart of the new man, but we need new vigilance to produce the new man. Third quote: I demand a new self for a new age. Any guesses? Any guesses? No. No.
Suzanne Frank?
No. Okay. First quote: Robespierre.
David Cameron, before he reversed himself on all 3.
First quote was Robespierre. Second quote was Lenin. And the third quote was Goebbels. Okay? So that tells you something about the vigilante-ness around the policing of the private self, which seems to be at the heart of why Orwell remains an interesting writer, because he was also extremely alert to the vigilantism around the self. If you remember, in 1984, the thing that Winston Smith hides is a diary. It's a diary. It's that inner narrative that is so dangerous that the state has to hunt him down for it. So, starting on those cheery Orwellian things, I wanted to. We're going to start with Anna, and then go to Suzanne, then to Aaron, and we're going to. They're all speak a bit, and then we'll open it up for you, and then at some point the politicians will come in. So, Anna, would you like to just give us a sort of flavour of what you think the problem is?
Okay, this was the subject was subtitled "Manners and Abuse Online," and I'm less worried about manners and more about what this trolling phenomenon is actually saying about us as a society. I have, as a blogger and also somebody who's quite opinionated with my politics and debated online in various forums, I have had my share of abuse, but nowhere near the same level as Caroline Criado Perez. I mean, that was quite stunning.
The girl who tried to get.
Here was a woman whose only crime was to get Jane Austen on a banknote. That was her crime. And it's like she lifted up a rock, and then we all saw, we were aghast at what had crawled out, because it wasn't just the odd insults, it wasn't just scores, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things, day in, day out, not just insults, but threats as well. So this was ignored also by the Twitter managers and the owners. And it was almost as if, if somebody had rung the dinner bell and no one was protecting this woman except for other people on Twitter. And of course, a lot of us were wondering, well, why would somebody want to be part of that baying mob? It was very Day of the Locust. Why would you want to threaten to soil the bitch, to burn the witch, to really try and destroy and rape? A lot of these were rape threats as well. Why would you threaten to rape a gobby, outspoken woman? How insecure do you have to be? Do these people have no shame? Do they have any pride, any power of empathy? And I think as a snapshot of the dark underbelly of what's happening to us in society, I don't think you could have done much better, actually, than had a look at what was happening to her. If the sleep of reason produces monsters, then I think a shrinking space in which to feel safe to debate is producing these monsters. And I think the only way we can combat that is to defend that space. It's really important. We all started off, all the bloggers started off wanting to provide a wonderful democratic space, this platform where everybody could debate, let 100 flowers blossom. And very quickly it turned. You realised people were crossing lines, and it became not about debating but about scoring points. Then you realised something was happening that was less to do with ostensibly with politics and more to do with an outpouring of hatred, of rage, and a lot of us got incredibly fed up with allowing ourselves to be punch bags, basically, for other people's sickness. And now I think most blogs are moderated. Mine certainly is. I can't actually think of one where people just allow unmoderated comments, and that includes not just blogs but YouTube, across all the platforms. I did say a few years ago, on hearing story after story after story emerging across the globe about attacks on women, the rapes, suddenly there was this madness. And I did say that we shouldn't be complacent here, because it felt like something was gathering momentum. And I think something's happening at a deep level, and it was only a matter of time before unpleasant forces were going to try and shut us up. And there were lots of anxiety. There was lots of anxiety expressed about the burqa. Well, we have a burqa. It's just invisible, and it's almost as if it's descending like the big Monty Python foot. And I think it's up to all of us. We've got to try and resist that as much as possible. It's interesting looking at this across the whole range of politics and culture, from left and right. And I'm afraid I have really seen things as bad on the left as it is on the right. I mean, one thing is the way that the women who, the rape case in the SWP, the women who made the allegations, and people within those organisations who were trying to deal with this, how they suddenly debate ended, and you had almost like a smackdown of people trying to shut them up, saying that the women were sort of sluts and liars and so on. And when it descends into this sort of aggression, it's difficult to understand, to think how we can deal with it. So I think women are the canaries down the mine, and we're just sort of getting there first. And I think a lot of this, there are social, political and economic reasons why this is happening. I think if you have a Tory government, and not just the Tories, but I think across the political spectrum again, if you're saying there is no such thing as society, that it's just a Hobbesian nightmare, it's just this law of the jungle, then I think this is what you get, because all our relationships break down. So what are you going to do about this? I think there is a political thing that is going wrong, and I do see Tory greed, the feral rich. I see, we know there is no recession at the top, while people at the bottom are being destroyed in a really petty, malicious, malevolent way. I'm going to cut this short because I don't know how long I've been going on for. I will say there's a positive side to this though, because I know when I was being Scientologized on Twitter and on various websites by my former leftist comrades in the SWP and Counterfire and various other organisations, there were attempts to mob me, but also there were complete strangers who were stepping in, who were seeing how unfair this was. And I found that very, very heartening. So you've got this polarisation going on. And I would say, out of all this, sometimes, the kindness of strangers is actually, it does eclipse the madness of strangers.